of the Malawian President-elect, Dr. Lazarus Makathe Chakwera. I just want to find out a few things from him, how he finds this particular auspicious occasion, the experience that he has, and of course, the lessons that he has to share as someone who has worked as a Vice President of the Republic of Zambia. Once again, my name is Jawes Banda, and welcome to this special edition right here on MUMBA television. Welcome, Your Excellency, to our program.
Thank you, Chawezi.
Sure.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. You came to attend this particular swearing-in ceremony of the Malawi President-elect, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus Makathe Chakwera. First of all, how do you know the President-elect of the Republic of Malawi, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus Makathe Chakwera?
Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate you as a Malawian on this great occasion of bringing in a new president, whom I believe is a president that is going to make the Malawian people proud, and actually the whole of Africa proud. I've known the president over a period of time. As you are aware, we share a common background, both himself and myself, members of the clergy. As a matter of fact, we are part of the very few on the African continent that are reverends or pastors that have had an opportunity. In fact, it's only the two of us, Dr. Chakwera, the new president of Malawi, and myself, who have led former ruling parties. I am the president of the former ruling party of Zambia, the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy. President Chakwera is the president of the MCP, Malawi Congress Party. Both of these parties were in government, lost power, and now he has led the way by winning this election, being the first person or Christian clergy who has become president on the entire continent of Africa. I'm not talking about just Christians becoming presidents. I'm talking about a clergy, a reverend, a preacher, let me put it that way, from the full gospel background to become president. Second of all, he's the first one in our region to bring a former ruling party back into government. And so it makes us to be like twin brothers. We are twin brothers, except that he's an older twin. He's an older twin both in age and in the speed at which he has reached the presidency. He's my elder brother because he's 5 years older than me. And so I'm a pastor, he's a pastor. I'm president of a former ruling party, he's a president of a former ruling party, but he has become president of the country. So it remains for me to join him where he is in my own country and win the election. So I'm greatly inspired by him.
I want to proceed on the basis of having yourself and Dr. Chakwera as clergymen. I want to understand, people have always spoken, why does someone who has got the background or perhaps the track record of being a pastor make a decision to become head of state or jump the boat of winning souls into perhaps becoming one politician in a particular country, perhaps to now look at matters of the state and matters that are perhaps considered to be secular? Why does someone do that? People have always been speaking. Why do you decide to get into the board of politics, leaving the church?
I think what has happened in Malawi has closed that debate for the most part. I mean, there was this argument that, you cannot have a pastor becoming a president. I think that that argument is now fallen along the way. Dr. Chakwera has done it. He has triumphed. He has proved the fact that, as a man of God, you can become a leader of God's people. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yes.
You Malawians are God's people.
Yes.
Dr. Chakwera is God's servant. I don't see any reason why a God's servant cannot preside over God's people who are called Malawians. I think it was just a blockade that we had in our minds, and that myth has been blown apart, and I'm happy to be present at this pivotal hour when history has turned. You may not recognize it, but I've been fighting this battle for the past 25 years of wanting to get a Christian leader into leadership of a nation or nations. Dr. Chakwera stands as the firstborn of this new generation of leaders that fears God. And I'm sure that as he looks after God's people, he has that fear for God that is going to make sure that he does that which is right, that if God were to ask him on that final day, how did you look after my people, he'll be able to give a good testimony. I think we're doing great. There's no difficulty in making that decision when you follow God. God tells you, you meet a woman for the first time, you have a peace of heart and mind, and you feel a comfort to say, I want to marry you. God guides you and you marry. When I was just a young Christian, I felt a leading to go into preaching. It's not every Christian who is a pastor, who is a preacher, but I felt God leading me into preaching. The same God who led me into preaching led me into politics. Absolutely no contradiction. He is the same God. He can lead you. We sing a song, wherever you lead me, I will follow. And he has led me into politics. He has led Dr. Chakwera into politics. And now he stands there as a symbol of what God can do in an ordinary country. And therefore, I have come here to witness this great moment. I drove all night in order to be here for this swearing in, because history is being made. History is taking a turn. Morality and integrity is now being injected into African politics. What a day. A day that I never thought would come in my lifetime. But here it is.
In terms of practicality of the experience that he has and blending the pastoral experience that he's had for the past years, and of course to make sure that he brings into perspective matters of the state so that the public is served better and in a way that is unprecedented, so that people should be able to appreciate that we have got a man of God at the helm of matters. Do you think he is offering a safe pair of hands to the people of Malawi so that they can trust him even in the next 5 years to rule this country?
Basically, he's not only offering safe set of hands, he's offering safer set of hands. You know, when you're a pastor, you actually are a general overseer of all life disciplines, a life overseer, a life coach for every human discipline. We are the ones responsible for counseling judges or lawyers when they come to us. We guide them on how to do their job. You know, teachers come to us, politicians come to us. Anybody that lives on this earth, if he comes to me to seek counsel, I'll give it to him, because the Spirit of God dwells in me. So to have a privilege and the blessing of me not just being your counselor, but being the one who can actually lead the nation, you have a double blessing, that not only are you counseling someone, but the counselor himself is the one now who is carrying out the responsibility. I think that you are double protected by that kind of move. Listen, what has happened today is to distinguish old politics from new politics. What he has done, those of us that have been in politics, I've been there for 25 years. One thing I've learned is that there are very few African leaders who really care for the people. They are in politics because they want to eat.
Yes.
You know, and that's really the general rule. What Dr. Chakwera represents, he represents a new group of leaders that is saying that we can make Africa better. If you listen to the speech he gave,
yes,
that's one of the most brilliant speeches that I've ever heard. If it was an American president who made that speech, it would be all over the globe being recited right now. He made it very clear. He said, what is freedom? Our forefathers did not just fight for our freedom just for us to be free.
Yes.
Be free then be poor. What is that freedom?
Doesn't make sense.
Be free and our dignity does not exist. So what he was saying is that, guys, let's not be preoccupied with this democracy of just freedom. Let's now find out, now that we are free, how should we use this to bring back dignity in our lives? So this leadership of a Christian leader who fears God is going to work on ensuring that human dignity is restored to Malawi. And what has happened here is now opening a door for Zambia. It's opening a door for other African countries to feel comfortable in installing in office men and women of integrity who have the fear of God in their hearts. to give guidance to God's people.
One highlight you have reminded me in terms of his speech is the issue to do with extending an olive branch to those that perhaps did not even vote for him in this very election that has made him become president of this Republic of Malawi. He has said, for those that did not vote for me, don't despair. I am your president. I'm not just the president for those that have given me their vote, but even for you. What substance does this particular statement have in making sure that he incorporates everyone, even those that were considered to be considered to be his political foes? What substance does this particular statement have?
Listen, this is extremely significant because this promise has been made by many other presidents when they assume office.
Yes.
But this president is different from those presidents. A lot of those presidents make that promise for political expedience. He has made it because he believes it. He is going to discharge. I mean, he's not God, but he is, there's no reason why he's going to preside over this nation. And to the exclusion of certain people in the name of not having voted for him. He's not going to do that because that's not how we do it in church. We pastor people that are of all sorts of shades. They believe stuff that just blows your mind. But, you know, we cover them because that's who we are. The privilege and the blessing you have today in this country is that you have a man who fears God and makes a promise and says to you, whether you voted for me or you didn't, I'm your president. He says that from his heart. And I want to say this again, that I think that the other statement that he made is also critical. He said, I want you to give me a chance with my vice president to prove ourselves to you. In other words, don't even clap us on, you didn't vote for us, don't start to praise us. Give us an opportunity to prove ourselves to you. That's a major undertaking he's making. He said, you know what? I don't want you to just clap for me or come and submit to me because I'm your president. Keep me at that distance. Allow me to prove myself that I'm up to the levels that you would want to have a president.
I'm sorry I will interject, Your Excellency. On the very same issue to do with the vice president. In Malawi, we have a history that presidents haven't been living in one accord with their vice presidents. You may be very close to us and you know our story and our history, that perhaps the former presidents that we've had haven't had it well with their vice presidents. This time around, we are talking about the Tonse Alliance. Dr. Chakwera has gotten into power alongside his running mate who has got his own different political party. They have decided to come together so that they can make things in Malawi work for the better of the people, for the betterment of the people of Malawi. What advice perhaps do you have, having this particular precedent that vice presidents and their presidents haven't been living together and haven't been working together in one accord? What advice do you have, or what perhaps some tips in terms of pillars to strengthen or cement this particular relationship so that it benefits the people of Malawi?
I think it's an important issue, and my statement to my elder brother, the new president, is that the statement he made today and the inclusiveness that he's demonstrating when he makes a statement, he always refers to his vice president.
Yes, yes.
You know, when something is happening in a family or in a church or in a nation concurrently, you know, not concurrently, but one after the other, like you have this vice president, they fail to operate with the president.
Yes.
You have another one, the same problem. It actually becomes a spirit in the land. So Reverend Chakwera, the president of the country now, understands both politics and spiritual implications. So he does understand that there is a spirit at work that would wish to divide him from his vice president.
Yes.
That's why in his previous statement, he said that the destiny demands that we end this thing of mistreating vice presidents, and that's going to end with me. So he has declared it in the heavenlies that this is no longer going to be part of the Malawian outfit. And it's of course it is true that every human being can be tempted. I mean, there will be many temptations, maybe for the vice president to be tempted to do something, or the president to be tempted. But I think there are they have got something going for the two of them. I think that it's not about them from what I've observed. I think they truly want to improve the quality of life of the people of Malawi.
All right. Getting to perhaps as we approach the finishing line in terms of our interview, one former president of the United States of America, Abraham Lincoln, once said, "Nearly all men can withstand adversity, but if you want to test the true character of a man, give him power." Dr. Chakwera has been given power. From how you know him, do you think he's someone that perhaps will be able to maintain the character that he has had as an ordinary clergyman and an ordinary citizen of the land, or he's going to change from the experience and the knowledge that you know, that you have about him?
Look, obviously there are different levels of power, but this is not the first time Dr. Chakwera is holding power. Dr. Chakwera has been a leader of one of the most influential Pentecostal movements in the world. And he has fared well, not just here in Malawi, but in the United States. He's a global minister. He has got immense power, connections, and so it's not the first time he's doing this. Look, power, when it comes to you, you have to learn to have something within you that manages that power. What he has in him is the fear of God. Some of the people without the fear of God totally abuse this power because they are not accountable to anybody. He is accountable not only to the Malawian people, he's accountable to the God who called him into politics. Because he has said it himself, God called him into politics. So I think that all of us have to be aware that the trappings of power come to all of us, the good people and the bad people, preachers and not preachers, Christians and Muslims. This temptation comes to all of us. But all I can say is to pledge to my elder brother, the president, that he has our prayers. We will pray for him. And one thing that has blessed me is I have observed him from the day he started to lead in the election results. You don't see any change in him.
Very composed.
He is so composed that the devil is confused. I can tell you that.
Okay.
When he spoke today to the nation, his first speech after being sworn in as president. Some presidents who become president for the first time would have lost it there.
Exactly.
Not him. He had it all. That is what is needed in Africa. Matured, trained, prepared for this job. President Chakwera has been prepared by God for this job. He has been prepared by the challenges that he has faced. He has been prepared by his role in leading God's people for this job. How do I know? I looked straight in his eyes when he was walking away from the podium because I was sitting right behind him. His eyes were focused. People clapped, but he didn't twitch. He never turned towards the claps. He kept his eyes on the message he had for the people. It's a good sign.
One problem that African leaders have, in Malawi we have had the same, and we hope we will not have that particular problem now and moving forward. In Africa we have got people who surround a president who like patronizing leadership. They tell the president he's right when he's wrong. This has contributed to the downfall of many who have held a position like the one Dr. Chakwera is holding today. Do you think the president is supposed to be told what is right, or he's supposed to be told what is wrong, so that he's able to move forward and act correctly so that he serves the people of the land in a manner that is pleasing to all and sundry?
At his level, with the vast experience that he has in management of human beings, I do not suppose that President Chakwera would take the risk of surrounding himself with yes boys and girls.
Yes.
Malawi doesn't need that. Malawi has major challenges that it needs to resolve. And it can only be solved by those who are serious-minded around the president. Listen, being a president means to preside, to preside over. That's a president. It doesn't mean you have all the answers to the problems facing the country. The answers to Malawi are in the Malawian people. And some of them, as president, I may not even be aware of it. But the one who is with me is going to tell, Mr. President, don't do that, because this says this about this. And I think that he is at a level, at both his age, his experience. I see that he is going to accept to listen to others, and if he doesn't, he knows what happens to presidents on our continent that have not listened to the counsel of others. And he has not only got those people around him, he has got us, his friends, his colleagues, who are going to knock on his door and say, no, listen, this is how difficult this is,
yes.
Mr. Banda. I'm sitting on tentacles right now.
Yes.
President Chakwera has become president. He's the first member of the clergy to become president on the African continent from our background of Pentecostals.
Yes.
And he's the first one to bring a former ruling party into government from our region. I am in the same position. And if President Chakwera fails to perform, it's not only him who is suffering, I'm going to suffer.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Because people are going to say, oh, we tried them, a pastor in Malawi, and look at what he has done.
Let them get back to the pulpit.
Let them get back to the pulpit. And then they'll come to Nevers and say, Nevers, please forget it. You guys are the same. So my prayer is daily for him that he succeeds, because his success makes things easier for some of us. And so if I I'm in Zambia,
yes,
and I start to see that my brother now is changing, I'll either walk, I'll run, I'll drive, I'll cycle to come here, and I'll be at the gates of State House. Whether they let me in or not, I'll be there, because I want to plead with you, my brother, let's not do this. Why? Because there are many younger people coming after us in the church that are going to become presidents of African nations, and the responsibility to hold the name of God in high office rests upon our shoulders.
All right. Interestingly, you still happen to be in mainstream politics, active politics in Zambia. How easy or difficult is it to navigate the political landscape in Zambia in terms of making sure that you have an impact on the country by making sure that you are able to remain legitimate and relevant to the people of Zambia, to make sure that you are able to provide the competent leadership, you are able to provide for the people of Zambia, and you are able to give a message of hope from the perspective of the clergy, knowing that you have the role to look after the people? How easy or difficult is it in Zambia, if you are to give from your perspective of the experience that you have had?
It's difficult anywhere, and it's equally difficult in Zambia for a man of God, or for a pastor, for a clergy person to be in politics. Point number one, because we are usually not welcome. We are considered as outsiders.
Yes.
So the moment you pronounce anything, they fight you. They don't want you near power. And so the answer to your question is that what do you need to do? You have to have patience.
Yes.
Be patient. Know that God has called you there. Today they will misunderstand you. Tomorrow they will clap for you. Look at this. Just last week, the major debate in Zambia was a former ruling party can never come back to power.
Yes.
That was the doctrine of Zambia for the past 25 years since I've been in politics.
It's been the same here.
Yeah. The other doctrine that was in Zambia was the fact that a pastor cannot become president. Go back to the pulpit.
Yes.
Up until last week, a few days ago, my brother wins the presidency and completely dismantles both these two myths and doctrines that I believe came from the devil, but people have believed it. In one election, he answers two questions. A man of God can be a president because people are people of God, and a man of God governing God's people is not contradictory. Two, a former ruling party is not a devil on its own. A former ruling party or a ruling party is a vehicle to go somewhere. So the driver of that vehicle matters a lot. That if the previous driver crashed a Mercedes-Benz car, you don't say nobody should drive Mercedes-Benz cars because they are bad cars, you die. No. You have a different driver. He drives in a different way. President Chakwera is a different driver of the MCP. And I plead with the people of Malawi, like he himself said, give him a chance to prove himself that yes, he's a man of God, but he can govern God's people with that kind of diligence that probably you never saw from those who never confessed Christ and became president.
Your Excellency, NEVERS MUMBA, former Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, thank you very much for taking time to talk to us.
Thank you, Mr. Banda.
Welcome. Sure. That's we end this special edition here on MUMBA Television. I was talking to the former Vice President of the Republic of Zambia. His name is His Excellency NEVERS MUMBA. He came to attend the swearing-in ceremony of the country's newly elected president, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, in Lilongwe at the BICC Malawi Square. Indeed, on Sunday, the 28th of June 2020. My name is Jawes Banda. I'm just wishing you all the best as you continue watching the rest of our programs here on MUMBA Television.
Zomba Institute of Management and Accountancy, ZIMA, in the college